My name's Scott Vessey. I'm the lead instructor for VMware here in the UK for Global Knowledge. And I just wanted to talk for a couple of minutes today around what I see to be the fundamental principle behind server-based virtualization. So the virtualization of server-based applications. A lot of people will talk about virtualization in the context of saving money, of running computing in a different kind of way, and so on. But to me, the most fundamental aspect of server virtualization is to break the bond or dependency between software and hardware. For the last 10 to 15 years, for as long as people have been using servers that are based on the x86 chipset, the Intel sort of based chipset, we've just become ingrained that one server should do one job. So that one server, that one piece of hardware, runs a single operating system. Yeah, and the operating system depends upon that hardware. So the chipset in the hardware, the operating system detects that chipset, installs drivers that are specific to that chipset, the types of network cards and storage cards and various other sort of controllers that you might have in the hardware. Again, the operating system detects those, install drivers for those. So we've got a very tight bond there between the operating system layer, the software layer, and the underlying hardware. Take that to the next level, the next layer of software, and you're dealing with things like applications. Whether you're talking about off-the-shelf applications, like your sort of Microsoft server applications and such like, or things like Oracle, or whether you're talking about applications that are maybe Java-based or based on some other sort of programming technology or interface and so on. The key thing is that those applications have the same kind of bond or dependency on the underlying operating system. So more and more applications, certainly that run on things like Windows servers, more and more applications will depend upon components of Windows. Whether they're like native Windows APIs, like the Win32 or Win64 API, or whether you're talking about applications that make use of things like Microsoft.NET technology. The key aspect of virtualization, to me, is to separate software from hardware. Okay, so if we can take those two pieces of software, those two elements of software, so the application and operating system, if we can containerize those inside something that's hardware independent, okay, then we've got a mechanism that enables us to do all manner of things with our applications that we've not really been able to do before. And that's what a virtual machine is. A virtual machine is a way of containerizing and providing a hardware interface to that software, but in a hardware-independent manner. There's loads. I mean, the list of benefits is as long as your arm. The simple things, but to me, the really fundamental things. Well, one of the things that I'm able to do is utilize that piece of hardware to run many different virtual machines. Yeah, that means obviously for every server that I buy, every piece of hardware that I deploy, I've got the opportunity to run many operating systems and many applications on that same piece of hardware. The benefits there is that I can make that hardware do more work. Okay, a lot of Americans will talk about sweating their assets. It's a phrase that I hear quite a lot. With looking at blogs and podcasts and so on. One of the other fundamental differences between running applications in a virtual machine or running applications directly on hardware is that I also get mobility of my applications. My application and my operating system are not dependent on the underlying physical box. So I've got the opportunity to take my virtual machine and it be a mobile thing. It be something I can run in a very flexible way. So, for example, I could potentially migrate my virtual machine from one piece of hardware to another piece of hardware. Those two pieces of hardware might well be in the same data center. The other thing about a virtual machine is that the whole virtual machine is just encapsulated into files. So if I can copy off those files, I've backed up the whole of my VM, and that includes all of the software, potentially including data as well. If I can take those files to a remote location, okay, then I've got almost like a ready-made disaster recovery solution. It's much more simple to provide disaster recovery for virtual environments than it is the more traditional physical environment. To me, those are the fundamental benefits of running server-based applications inside virtual machines. Thank you very much for your time.